President Trump, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino have just made massive breaking updates to the political assassination of Charlie Kirk and the vengeance that must be sought by the federal government in the collusion and coordination of this attack on our republic. That is exactly what it is. This is political terrorism, and it cannot be allowed in our nation. We spoke with the FBI yesterday, and the FBI told us this is not a closed case. There are co-conspirators, and there is an enormous amount of evidence that has been seized, both digital and physical. We will know the truth. We have everything. We are focused on the radicalization element. The truth will not be hidden, buried, or classified. The public will know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we found out over the weekend was that Tyler Robinson was a very hard left-wing radical. He always has been a far left-wing radical. He lived with his transgender boyfriend. His transgender boyfriend has turned over everything, allegedly, to the FBI. And those electronics are making the case that this was part of the transgender spate, scourge of violence that we have seen in our nation. That is why the FBI is probing left-wing groups throughout Utah. Some of those left-wing groups, in fact, have bullets in their bios that have engravings. You will recall, here's the Armed Queers of Salt Lake City. They nuked their social media. You will notice that their logo has engraved bullets, much like the bullets that struck Charlie Kirk were engraved with Antifa and LGBT and furry and left-wing iconography. Also, there seemed to be a contingency of transgender activists who had foreknowledge about Charlie Kirk's soon-to-be political assassination. Yo, guys, I have something very big coming tomorrow. Be sure you check the news. You'll know when you see it. This is, of course, leading to some investigators saying that there's GPS data showing that there are dozens of potential co-conspirators, along with reports of dozens of out-of-state vehicles visiting Tyler Robinson in his home, mysteriously coming and going, ladies and gentlemen, the home that he shared with his transgender boyfriend. President Trump saying this is a massive investigation. We've just begun to look at the far left-wing radicalized group.
Well, the problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left, that's not the right.
Plan on investigating?
We'll see. We'll be announcing. They're already under investigation. They're already under major investigation. A lot of the people that you would traditionally say are on the left.
They're already under investigation?
Already under investigation.
They're under major investigation, and now we just found out seconds ago from Kash Patel what that investigation looks like. Dozens of people that knew about Charlie Kirk's political assassination ahead of time. Listen to this.
Chats real quick. There's more than 20 individuals, but this is a great point. I want to lay out how this works. People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. We, the FBI, are the investigatory body supporting multiple prosecutions and ongoing investigations. And that's another point. Our investigation at the FBI is ongoing. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room. But we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained. We, the FBI, are running the investigation pointedly on the Discord chat group. There are scores of individuals that are going to be spoken to. There are also lots of family members and friends that have already been spoken to. And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as other critical cellular information from our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law. And our investigation, our interviews continue, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
So Kash Patel there breaking bombshell news that there was premeditation and coordination inside of text chats and groups, something that we have long suspected here.
Investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions. But I believe in this instance of such public importance, the public has a right to know.
So Kash Patel there saying there is premeditation. There are individuals who knew about this ahead of time and who assisted, who either knew about it and didn't report it, or were a total accomplice to this killing, that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. They was steeped in left-wing hatred. This is the same thing that Bongino just said moments later on Fox.
Any connection at all between the person who was asking the question about mass shooters and trans killers, or was that just a stunning coincidence when that single shot was fired?
Well, we're investigating that. I don't want to say conclusively right now if there was a connection or not. Charlie was known to speak out about these issues. He was a powerful voice. It's not terribly uncommon for him to get questions like that. However, we are looking into that. Any potential connection here,
okay, so
we're going to scrub.
I'm not drawing conclusions from your answer, but you're saying it's a possibility. Is that what I hear you saying?
We're looking into everything, Bill. There's not going to be a stone left unturned if there was anyone involved who aided, abetted. I can't say that in strong enough terms. Every single FBI asset on this team is being applied and used in this investigation.
Okay.
This is the exact same thing that Kash Patel said, that he is using every resource available to the FBI in order to catch the entirety of the conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk.
Multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did, once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence, that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pray for the FBI, President Trump, and the entire federal law enforcement as they search out to find the greater conspiracy and all who are involved in the killing, the political assassination, execution of Charlie Kirk, one of the greatest American voices of a generation.